Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Rudra and today I'll be teaching Python programming language. If you are a beginner to programming and coding, don't worry, this course is for beginners. I'll teach from basic to advanced. So let's move forward. This is lecture 1, getting started with Python. Today we'll not dive into extreme coding or anything. We'll talk about just basic stuffs like what is programming, history of programming, why are we learning, what is Python, why are we learning Python versus other languages, and installing the infrastructure and environment for Python, VS Code, other extensions, etc., and a little bit about Python. So let's move forward. And don't worry, all the notes that I'm using and modules that I'm using will be available in description, so need not to worry. So first question, before moving forward and learn about Python programming, first we should understand what is programming. Programming is a process of giving a computer a set of step-by-step instructions written in a language the computer can understand to perform a specific task or solve a problem. So basically programming is a set of instructions, not any computer like we give to any machine, so that it can perform a task and understand us. A computer cannot think on its own. It follows instruction exactly as given. All the automatic computers are also given instructions. Any type of device which is performing some task is given an instruction on how to work. These instructions are written using programming language. Now, these instructions are written in programming language like Python, Java, C++. The collection of instructions written to perform a task is called a program or code. The person who writes these instructions is called a programmer or developer. Key points, you can read these key points. Now moving on to the second question, why is programming important? Programming is important for automation of devices, problem solving. Humans have any problem and they want to solve it, they write a program for it. Career opportunities, there are many career opportunities in programming like software development, DevOps, web development, etc. Powers modern technology. All the modern technologies require programming. Like everyday life, use websites, mobile apps, AI, everywhere. Technology is used everywhere, and every technology needs programming. Creativity, you can build your own tools, games, app, website from scratch with the help of programming. Foundation of emerging fields. New fields are emerging in today's world like artificial intelligence, machine learning, data science, cybersecurity, and robotics. All require strong programming skills. Now that we understand a little bit about programming, let's talk about the history of programming, like how programming evolved from years to years. Like around 1940s, there was machine language. Now, some of you might know that all the computer understand binary code, like in zeros and ones. It's extremely hard to write and understand for humans. As you know, if you are given just a paper on which only zeros and ones are written, then machine might make out of it of what it means, but for a human, it's very hard to understand. So, machine language is basically a language in which zeros and ones and give instruction to machine so that they can perform a task. As we move forward, in 1950s, assembly language was introduced in which we use short mnemonics like one word, two word code instead of pure binary, so that it's little easier for humans to understand. As we go on, we develop some languages which are easier to understand for human, like C language, C++, Java, Python. In 1991, Python was released by Godot van Rossum, focused on simplicity and readability. So Python is famous for simplicity and readability. It's easier to understand, it's easier to write. So you can study all these languages. In 2000s, modern languages emerged like Python, Swift, Kotlin, Go, Rust. These are the languages developed by institutions for their own coding like Google, Amazon, etc., Microsoft. So they use their language in their programming. Key points: programming language evolved to move closer to human language and further from raw machine code, making code easier over time. So Python belongs to a family of high languages closer to English than to binary. Now Python is comes under high level language. High level languages, many students confuse that high level languages mean perform better than other languages or it is better than other languages. No, high level languages mainly mean it is closer to English for humans to understand. That's why it is a high level language. Oh, C plus plus is a medium. Java is a medium level language. C is a low level language. Assembly is a low level language because they are far from English. Like for humans to understand them, it's not very easy. So Python is very close to English. Its syntax is easier to understand. Now, what is Python? Python is a high-level general-purpose interpreted programming language known for its simple, readable syntax that resembles plain English. High level Python is a high level language, it's closer to English and easier to understand. General purpose, matlab we can use Python for all the purpose, like for gaming, for web developing, for AI, ML. It is used for many things. Interpreted language, we will later learn about what is interpreted language and compiler. We'll talk about that. You can read this if you want basics of Python. Python is free and open source. Anyone can use and download and modify it. It is maintained by Python Software Foundation. And as I talked about, Python is a general purpose language. It can be used for almost any type of application: web development, data science, automation, AI. Now let's talk about why we are learning Python and versus other languages, like how Python compares to other languages. Syntax, I think you understand what is a syntax. Syntax is basically the code, the way to write the code in a language is called syntax. In Python, syntax is very simple, close to English. Like if the code, we will code later, so don't worry. We will code. You will understand. You can just read. If you read the syntax, you will understand what we are trying to write. C++, complex, more symbols, and Java, verbose, more rules. Typing, dynamically typed. Dynamically typed matlab basically we don't have to assign variables. What type of variable? Statically type, statistically type. It means we have to specify the type of variable that we are assigning. Variables we will talk about later, so don't worry. It means in Python it is Python automatically assigns the type of variables when we give it a value. So we don't have to manually assign a type to the variable. Execution, interpreted, compiled. Interpreted basically means to interpret the code line by line. The terminal or the computer checks the code line by line to executes the code line by line to find any bugs and etc. And compiled, basically the whole code is made into a file and compiled at once. In interpreted is easier to find, it's easier to debug and find errors. In compiled it's hard because you are compiling the whole code at once, so hard to find where the error is made. In Java, both can be done. Speed, Python is slower than other languages, and C++ is very fast. Java is fast. You will understand that the higher, the more we move closer to the English languages, the speed becomes slower, because first the machine will convert what we have written in that languages to machine languages that it will understand. So the further we move away from the machine language, the slower it will get. That's why Python is slower. Now it has its advantages and disadvantages. C++ is very fast and Java is fast. Learning curve, like how easier it is to learn Python, it's the easiest. Its code and syntax all is like writing English. C++ it's difficult than Python, and Java it's moderate. Python is best for AI, data science, scripting, web. Python, if you are interested in AI, machine learning, etc., data science, then Python is a must. You should know Python. C++, system software, OS and games. Like all the OS system software and operating systems are written in C++ and C, and many games are made on C and C++. Java is used in industry a lot, like in many corporate infrastructure. Java is used, like in Android apps. All the I have heard like more than 50% of the companies use Java languages. Key points: Python needs fewer lines of code to do the same task compared to C++ or Java. Python trades some execution speed for much faster development type and easier learning. Because it's beginner friendly, Python is most popular first language taught worldwide. Features of Python: easy to learn and read, free and open source, high level languages. You don't need to manage memory or hardware details manually. Interpreted language, code runs line by line, making debugging easier. Cross-platform, portable, code written on Windows can run on Mac or Linux without changes. Object-oriented, so supports OPP concepts like classes, objects, and dynamically typed. No need to declare the data type of variable. Python figures it out automatically. Extensive standard library comes with built-in modules for math, file handling, internet access, and more. Extensible, can be integrated with other languages like C, C++, and Java. Large community support, millions of developers, tons of tutorials, libraries, and forums for help. Supports GUI development. Can build desktop application using library like Tincter, IQT. If you don't understand what all of these are, don't worry. You can just read it for now. We will talk about all of this and study about all of this later. Applications of Python. Web development. We have already talked about the application. These are all the fields in which Python are used. You can check in which field you are interested and how Python is going to help you in that field, like web development, data science and analytics, artificial intelligence, machine learning, automation, scripting, game development, desktop GUI application, cybersecurity and ethical hacking, embedded systems, IoT, scientific and numeric computing. Now, what are the advantages and disadvantages of Python? We have we have talked a lot about Python, so I think you should already know few advantages and disadvantages of Python. Let's deep dive into it. What are the advantages? Simple and readable syntax, faster to write and understand code, free open source and cross-platform, huge collection of libraries and framework for almost every use case. Great for beginners due to gentle learning curve, strong community support and documentation, good for rapid prototyping, build and test ideas quick. Now, what are the disadvantages? Slower execution speed. As we have talked about before, it has slower execution speed compared to other languages like C, Java. High memory consumption. If you are writing code in almost in English languages, so it will require a lot memory compared to machine languages and other. Not great for mobile development, rarely used for building mobile apps compared to Java, Kotlin or Swift. Runtime error. Since it's dynamically typed, some errors only show up while running the program, not before. Global Interpreter Lock (GIL) make true multi-threading harder to achieve. Now, if you go and search about Python, you might come across Python 2, Python 3. You don't have to think much about it. Python 2 is basically the previous version of Python, which is now discontinued on January 1, 2020. Python 3 is the latest version, and when we will download, we will make sure we download Python 3, the latest. It's all right. If you want to read this, then you can read and see the difference between Python 2, how Python has developed from 2000 to 2008. We don't need that much. Now let's talk about how to install Python. Before writing Python program, we need to install Python interpreter on our computer, software that reads and run Python code. So first, before writing Python, we have to install it. Here is the step-by-step process to install Python. So let's first install it. You can open any browser, just go there and search Python, download Python org, first website. You can go there and here Python, download Python install manager. You can just click on that and here the download will. Now after downloading it, you can follow these instructions. You can double click on the downloaded file and run the installer file. Okay, and install it. If you have downloaded games and played games before in computer and or desktop, you know how to download it, right? You can download it. If you are facing any problems, you can follow these instructions step by step. Now after installing Python, we have to install VS Code. What is VS Code? Visual Studio Code. VS Code is a free, lightweight and powerful source code editor made by Microsoft, used to write, run code in almost any programming language. Now VS Code is a source code editor. Now you to write the code you need an environment. VS Code in today's world, VS Code is the most popular environment to write any code. It's easier, it provides us shortcuts, etc. and many other functionalities that helps us to make coding easy for us, for the coders. So you can, there are other source code editors, but we'll mainly focus on VS Code because it's the most popular and widely used. Why use VS Code for Python? It's free, works on Windows, Mac and Linux, support extension, add-ons that make coding easier, like autocomplete, error checking, and formatting. Has a built-in terminal so you can write, run code in same window. Extremely popular in the industry, so learning it now helps in real job later. VS Code helps you. You can write the code on one side and check if the code is right, if code is working or not. It helps in debugging as well. Everything. That's why VS Code is step by step installation of VS Code. Here are the steps. Let me show. You can just type VS Code on Google and just click on the first link. Here, if you have Windows, you can download from here. If you have Mac, you can download from here. For Linux, you can download from. I have already downloaded VS Code and Python in my system. So we'll just continue. I'll tell you about how to download Python extension in VS Code. That will make our that will add some extra functionalities and make the coding process. If you still face any problems, don't worry, I'll share this PDF. You can check these steps, all of it, all the steps are written in detail. You can just follow them from installing Python, installing VS Code, and installing the Python extension. Now let's move forward and talk about how to write your first Python program. So first of all, go into your folder and make a new folder. You can name it Python programming. Click on it, right click on it, then either you will after downloading VS Code you will see an option here, open with code. So click on it. Here, if you have downloaded, if you have followed the steps, you will be here. This interface will pop up on your desktop. So the folder here, you can explore all the buttons and your files, edit, etc. on your own if you are interested. We will just talk about, here is the folder you have opened and you can add files into it. First of all, let's first install the extensions that we have talked about. You can click here and search Python, some network. Here is the search bar. You can just search Python here. I will show you. I have downloaded like here. It's already installed in my system. Here it's showing uninstall, which means it's already installed. And you have to mainly download two extensions for right now. One is Python and another is CodeRunner. CodeRunner, it basically helps us in writing other program code. It makes it easier. After installing these two extension, we can move to the file. Now here you can add another folder, new folder. If you want to make new folder, if you want to add a file in the folder Python programming, you can add another file here. So we'll make our first file. Let's name it hello.py. Now as you have noticed, I have written hello.py. Py here tells the VS Code that the file that we are making, the code inside it, the everything that is written inside it is to be taken as in Python language. It will interpret is as a Python language. You can see the sign here, it's showing the symbol of Python. In C you use C, in HTML and HTML you use HTML, etc. For different languages use different. Just enter, new file is generated. Now we can begin writing code. So running your first Python program. Open VS Code, open a folder where you want to save your file. File, open folder. Create new file and name it hello.py. The .py external tell computer it's Python file. Type the following code in the file. Like our it's a norm in programming world that the first code you'll write in any language is you print hello world. So let's go. Hello world. As you can see, now you can save it. File, save. You can directly activate autosave, which will automatically save all the codes and change the file. My autosave is on, so no need to manually save it. Or if you want to manually save it, just type Control plus S shortcut, save the. And here we will see an option to run the code, so you can click here. And as you can see in the terminal, output terminal, hello world is typed. So we have run our first program successfully. Moving forward, run it by clicking. We have already talked about this. Key points. Print is an built-in function used to display output on the screen. Now we use print. Print is an inbuilt function. It already comes with Python. You don't have to define what print is. Its meaning is already written in Python. Its function is written. Text written inside quotes is called a string. Hello World is a traditionally the first program every programmer writes when learning a new language. Now let's talk about how we have written our first code. So let's go understand a little bit how Python actually works. Compiler. Compiler translates the entire source code into machine code, zeros and ones all at once before running it. If there are errors, it shows all of them together before execution. Interpreter. An interpreter translates and executes code line by line. It stops immediately when it hits an error without checking the rest of the code. So for large amount, both compilers are also good, interpreters are also good. They work in their own ways. Like if the file is very large, then interpreter can be a little annoying because it might, if the file has a lot of error. First we should make sure that the file should be, there should be very less error in the program. That debugging helps us in that. We'll talk about debugging later. So translation whole program at once, line by line, like the whole code is converted into machine languages in compiler. In interpreter it is done line by line. Speed, faster execution. If you It will convert the whole program in machine languages at once. Then it will show the errors. It's slower execution. Like if you go from line to line, then it will stop, it will show you error, then you will fix that, then you will run again, then if there is another error, then it will stop again, then you have to fix that, etc. Error detection shows all errors together. In this it is saying shows all errors together, but sometimes it's difficult to find the errors in compiled. When compiler is used, you have to sometimes use your own brain to estimate where the error is. It stops at first error. Because it stops at first error, you there are most likely chances that you will know what the error is, and it's easier to debug. Examples: C, C++, Python, and JavaScript. How Python actually works. Python code is technically both compiled and interpreted. In Python, code is both compiled and interpreted. When you run a .py file, Python first compiles it into an intermediate form called bytecode file with .pyc extension. This bytecode is then executed line by line by Python Virtual Machine (PVM), which acts as an interpreter. This whole system, compiler plus interpreter working together, is called CPython, the standard and most widely used implementation of Python. Here is the flow of how: first there is source code, the code you write, then it is compiled to bytecode, then it is executed by Python Virtual Machine, and then the output is whether it is error or the code has run successfully. Now let's talk about character sets in Python. Like when you will write in Python, when you write code, then what are the things that are available that we can write in code in Python? Definition: a character set is a complete set of valid characters that a programming languages can recognize and use to write source code. Character set in Python includes letters. You can we can write from A to Z, uppercase and lowercase, digits 0 to 9, symbols such as plus, minus, etc. All these symbols, brackets, comma, semicolon, colon, underscore, hashtag, etc. White spaces, blank space, tab, new line, used for indentation and separating code. Unicode and character. Python 3 supports Unicode by default, allowing characters from almost every languages and even emojis to be used in string. Key point: Python program source code are written using only characters from these valid character sets. Since Python 3 uses Unicode, variable names and strings can include characters beyond plain English, though English letters are recommended for learning. You can use other characters, but for professional programming, it is advised to use English letters because your code is to be inspected by other officials, other developers as well, so it make it easier for them to understand. Now keywords in Python. Keywords are reserved word in Python that already have a special fixed meaning to the interpreter. They cannot be used as names of variable, functions, or any other identifier. Now, first of all, let's talk about what are I'll talk about the variables, function, other identifier a little bit. Variables are basically the storage. Variables are created by you to assign some value. So you create an storage point where you have to store something, so that are variables. Their value varies and we have to assign. In Python we don't have to, for much of the time we don't assign what type it is. Python it directly does that for us. So variables are that it basically stores a value for us to store something. In Python, what are keywords? Keywords are basically reserved words. Like when you are creating a variable, you give it a name, you create it. So keywords are basically already reserved words. They are already created in already included in Python. So, and they have a fixed meaning and a special task. So we can't name the variables and function same as keywords. It will show us an error. Like in the previously we used print. We use print here. So print is a keyword. We cannot create a variable. We cannot use the same print in another way. We can't create any variable. Print will always mean this in Python, to print whatever written in these brackets. Key points: Python 3 has 35 keywords. This number can vary slightly by versions. As the new versions come, new keywords are added as per the functionality. If you want new functionalities, new keywords are added. So currently there are 35 keywords. All keywords are case sensitive. Case sensitive, it means all the keywords in Python are case sensitive, like capital and small matters. Like capital T R U E true is a keyword, but small t R U E is not. So capitalization matters in keywords. You can check the full list anytime in Python using the keyword module. How to check all the keywords in Python? You can use this code. Let me show you. You can use the same code from this PDF as well. You can check it on yourself. So let's run this. You don't have to understand what is written here. We'll discuss about it later. I'm just showing you what are all the keywords in Python here. All these are the keywords in Python: false, none, true, and, as, assert, async, await, break, class, continue, def, del. You can read it all out. Total 35 it's showing. So let's move on. You can hear, you can read all of this if you want. Just take a look. No need to, you don't have to remember all of this. Okay, will it will come naturally to you as we continue. Identifier in Python. An identifier is a name given by a programmer to a variable, function, class, module, or any other object. Now, if you want to write anything in the Python and like a variable, like a function, class, module, you have to give it a name that is called identifier. To add, if you want to call that variable again, call that function that you want that particular variable or function, then you have to give it a name. You will call it by a name. You will use, if you want to use that same variable again and again in code, then you will use that name. So that name is identifier. We are basically identifying the particular variable, function, and class by the name we have given. Now there are rules for naming the identifiers. Like we have first studied that names of identifiers can't be same to keywords. So there are many other rules to for naming identifiers, so that the programming becomes easier to understand and easier to interpret for other developers. Like the code you write will not be only for you to understand. In an corporation, your code is inspected by many other developers. They are rechecked many times. They are inspected many times. So they should be in a format that is easier to understand. They should be formal. So how to name an identifier? Can contain letters A to Z, a small a to Z, capital A to Z, digits, and underscore. Must not start with digit. Example, two value is invalid. Cannot contain spaces or special symbols like at the rate, hashtag, dollar, percentage, exclamation, etc. Cannot be a Python keyword, we have already discussed. Cannot name a variable, class, or for. Python identifiers are case sensitive. If you have named a variable or a function age in small and age in capital and age in all capital, all caps, then they are all different identifiers. You can't name a variable in a small age and then call the age in write age in capital and expect that the same variable will be called. There is no limit on the length of the identifier, but it should be meaningful. I have seen many students write variable names as a. They will identify the variable. They will create variable with a, b, c, d. It should not be that way formally. You should make the name so that after reading the name, the anyone can understand what is stored in that name. What does it do? Like if you are creating a function, then name it in a way that the person other than you can understand what that function basically does. That's the right way to do it. You can name it ABC for your simplicity, like you don't want to write lengthy names like that, and lengthy names are it's a little bit tasky to call them because the names are very large, but it should be meaningful. Valid versus invalid example. Identifier student name. This is valid, all in small letters and underscore. Underscore is the only symbol that should be used in identifiers. Other symbols are invalid. Letters and marks valid, start with underscore. Total to valid because the digit is not in the beginning. That's why it is valid. Now digits are in the beginning, so it is valid. Cannot start with a digit. My name. This is slash hyphen. It is invalid. Hyphen is not allowed. Only underscore is allowed. Class invalid. It is a reserved keyword. Naming convention. Now it is not a rule but best practice. Like it is advised. When you will work in any company, then it is advised to write it variables and function use snake case. Snake case means in a small case with an underscore in it, underscore between it. Class names for variables and functions used snake case. Example is here student underscore name, calculate underscore total. This is a function, this is a variable. Class name use Pascal case. Like one first character is capital student and record first character is capital bank account for class. And constant use uppercase. For constant, all of them are uppercase completely. PI capital completely. Max underscore limit. These are the best cases. It's not a rule, but it's best practice. So you should write them in this way from the beginning to make it a habit. Now we have reached the last topic of today's lecture, which is comments in Python. Is a line in code that is ignored by Python interpreter. It is written only for humans to read to explain what the code does. Now, why we use comments? To explain the purpose of piece of code so others or you later can understand it. To temporarily disable a line of code without deleting while testing. Make code more organized and professional. Now, why we use comments? Like after writing the code, after some time, like months, you forget what the code you have written, what the purpose of that code. So to make it easier for you to understand or for any other person, if any other person is looking at your code, so it makes it easier for them to understand. You can write it in English, right? So it's easier for them to understand. To temporarily disable a line of code without deleting it. If your code consists of multiple sections, like there are 2 3 functions, and it contains is your code basically perform two three function at once. So if you want to test one part, then you can comment out the other part so that you only one part runs and you can test whether it's working properly or not. To make code more organized and professional, I have already talked about this. Now, type of comments in Python, single line comment, like starts with a hash symbol. Everything after hash on the line is ignored by Python. You can see the example here. Hash, this program prints a greeting message. Print hello world. This line displays the text on the screen. I'll show you. Like here I have written code. I'll just put an hashtag there. Then you can see it's grayed out. Like the Python compiler or interpreter will not interpret this, will not process this. I have completely all three. Then after you can write print hello world and run it. See, only hello world is typing. This code previously is completely ignored. If you want to first let here, you can see just hello world is typing. If you comment it out as well, then nothing, there is nothing. So that's how comment out work. You can write here code to greet. You can run it. Hello world is typing. This code is completely ignored, no errors, etc. So this is the function of commenting out. Now there is single line comment, like if you go there and if you cut it out, like here you have written hash, this line of code, next line of code is not commented out. So if you want to write a paragraph or the message you want to write is very large or code is very large, it is a small, if it is one line comment, then you can use hash. If it is a multiple line, if you want to completely comment out the whole code of multiple lines, then we use multi-line comment. Now how it is used, let's see that. Multi-line comment using multiple hash symbols. You can either use multiple hash symbols as I have used before. So it's Python has no official multi-line comment symbol, so we use Python at the start of every line. Like there is no particular symbol for multi-line comment, so we just use hash multiple line. You can do it in this way, like, or there is another way, multi-line string using a comment, doc, doc string style. Text inside triple quotes that is not assigned to anything is ignored during execution, commonly used for longer explanation. So you can see, as you can see, all of these has changed color to same. Now let's run it and it's again showing hello world. If you want, you will just cut it and run it. Then it's printing all the keywords with hello world here. So that's how multi, if you, it can be used to, you can see the example. This program takes two number as input and prints their sum, author, student name, print here. So if you want to write a multi-line comment or something, you can use multi-line comment method, comment out. Key points here: comments are completely ignored by interpreter. They do not affect the program's output. Good programmers write clear and meaningful comments. Not too many, not too few. Triple coded strings used at the very start of function slash class with a specific format are called docstrings and are used for documentation. This will be covered in detail with function. Now this is the end of lecture 1, Python programming. All these nodes and modules will be available to you in the description, so you don't need to go anywhere. You can just download these notes. These all the notes are in detail. Like you can check the definition line by line, key points, advantages, disadvantages. Don't need to worry. So thank you everyone. Lecture 1 is complete. In the next lecture, we will completely dive into Python. We'll learn about how to create variables, etc., types of variables, and we'll perform simple Python programming. Like we'll talk about other operators, etc., plus, minus, everything. So thank you for watching. Thank you for the first lecture. First lecture is complete. Thank you.